My brother almost died on a Tuesday, and somehow the hardest part wasn't the hospital, it was the drive home afterward, sitting in silence, wondering if we'd done enough or too much, or anything at all that mattered. He'd been using opioids for 3 years before we even said the word addiction out loud, which tells you everything about how families work. We're fluent in denial and practically illiterate in honesty. And by the time we started talking, the problem had been talking for us through missed Christmases, borrowed money, and a look behind his eyes that used to mean something warm, but had gone somewhere we couldn't follow. The intervention wasn't a TV moment, no circle of tearful relatives reading letters while soft piano played in the background. We sat at our mom's kitchen table on a Wednesday morning, just the 3 of us, and we told him plainly that we loved him and that we were done pretending. Which sounds simple, until you're the one saying it to someone you've known your whole life, who is now a stranger wearing your brother's face, and we gave him one option. A detox facility we'd already researched, already called, already partially paid for, because giving an addict a choice without a plan is just performance. He said no, first of course he did, because that's not weakness, that's chemistry. What most people don't understand about opioid dependency is that the brain has been literally rewired, hijacked at the neurological level, the way a computer gets a virus that makes it run every program in service of one function. So when we think someone is choosing the drug, we're misreading the operating system entirely. And that reframe learning to see it as illness, not moral failure, was the single most important shift our family made before anything else could change. Setting boundaries wasn't cruelty dressed up as self-care. It was the most loving thing we did. We stopped giving money, stopped covering for him at family events, stopped absorbing the chaos into ourselves like it was our job to metabolize his pain on his behalf. And yes, it felt monstrous at first, like we were building a wall around someone drowning. But what we were actually doing was refusing to be part of the system that kept the addiction comfortable, because addiction is shockingly practical, and it will use every soft edge you leave it. He went to detox on a Friday, 11 days after the kitchen table conversation. The first small win, the one that made my mom cry in a Walgreens parking lot, was a phone call on day 4 where he said he was angry, not broken, not gone, just angry. And anger meant he was still in there, still feeling something that belonged to him and not to the drug. Which sounds like nothing until you realize you'd spent 3 years watching someone slowly evacuate themselves. The second milestone arrived about 6 weeks later, quieter than the first. He showed up to his own nephew's birthday party, my son's 5th birthday, on time, sober, with a wrapped gift he'd bought himself, and he sat in our backyard and ate cake and laughed at something my kid said. And I watched him from across the yard thinking, this is what we were fighting for? This exact 30-minute moment that most people would scroll past without a second thought. And I understood then why people in recovery talk about the ordinary like it's sacred. Because for a while, the ordinary had been completely out of reach. The third milestone was the most mundane and the most enormous. He got a library card. It sounds absurd, I know, a library card as a symbol of recovery. But what it actually represented was that he had a stable address, a government ID, enough consecutive sober days to make a commitment to returning something, and the cognitive space to want to read again. Because one of the quiet devastations of addiction nobody tells you about is that it steals your ability to be interested in anything. And watching curiosity come back was like watching someone learn to breathe through both lungs again. Here's the uncomfortable truth that recovery culture sometimes glosses over. Relapse is statistically part of the process for most people. And building your entire emotional architecture around the hope of a straight line is how families break. We prepared for setbacks not by expecting failure, but by deciding in advance how we would respond with consistency, with limits that didn't move, and with the understanding that our love was not contingent on his sobriety, but our participation in his life might be. And that distinction, that one sentence difference, kept us sane through months of uncertainty. You can't want someone's recovery more than they want it. And the day you stop trying to want it for them is the day you actually become useful. So if you're the person driving to the late night call, reading about harm reduction at midnight, rehearsing what you'll say if today is the day, know that the small wins are the whole story, not the prologue to it. And that a library card, a birthday party, An angry phone call from detox can be the bravest things you've ever witnessed if you're paying the right kind of attention. If this helped you or someone you know, subscribe and go check out everything else we've made, because none of us should have to figure this out alone.